My name is Josiah, son of Amon, king of Judah. When the crown was placed on my head, I was only 8 years old. The kingdom I inherited was broken. Idols filled the streets. The temple of God had been forgotten. My grandfather Manasseh had led Judah into darkness. My father followed him. Then my father was killed, and I inherited all of it. But something stirred in me while I was still young. At 16, I began seeking the God of my ancestor David, not gods of stone and wood, the living God. At 20, I started tearing it all down. The altars of Baal destroyed, the Asherah poles cut down, the idols ground to dust. A generation of darkness swept from the land. Then I repaired the temple of the Lord, and while the priests worked inside, they found something buried in the rubble. The book of the law, the words of Moses, lost, forgotten. When it was read aloud before me, I tore my robes because we had wandered so far from God that His own word had to be dug out of ruins to be heard again. I gathered all of Judah, greatest to least, and read every word of that covenant aloud. Then I made a promise before God and before the people to follow Him with everything I had, and all the people joined me. We restored the Passover, a celebration not kept like this since the days of the judges, not once in all the centuries of Israel's kings, until now. The temple filled with praise. The nation remembered God. The scribes wrote this about my reign. Before him there was no king like him, who turned to the Lord with all his heart, all his soul, and all his might. Nor did any like him arise after him. I didn't have a perfect kingdom, but in the years I was given, I chose to seek. I chose to rebuild. I chose to stand before my people and read the words of God aloud. Because even a boy, when he seeks the Lord, can change the course of a nation.